guys, here it is. We've been waiting for it for quite a while. This is the Rieju 307 Rally, and first impressions couldn't be better, man. This is really impressive little bike. This is the pure trail bike that everybody's been asking for, and it's been quite a while for a brand to deliver the whole package, and it seems like this has everything we really wanted. This is kind of an odd thing. They delivered the bike to us right here on the beach, so the bike has 0 kilometers. We're gonna hit the road pretty soon, but we got a braking in period that is kind of particular. We got to keep the bike under 5,000 RPMs for the first 500 kilometers, and they're also asking us not to stay at the same speed for too long. So this is kind of old school breaking in of an engine, but we're going to comply with all the demands because we want this bike to reach its full potential, because we think this is going to be a really cool piece of kit. Man, I'm really enjoying this little Rieju. It's definitely living up to the expectations, so I'm pretty stoked I pre-ordered it without even seeing one. The first time I heard about this bike, it was August, the engineer in charge of the project, racing a prototype in a rally in Morocco with no support team. Then I heard they were taking 2 bikes from Barcelona to Greece to race the Halles Rally. Both bikes made it to the finish line, and August himself landed 34th overall. I knew it right then I wanted one, and many months later, here we are with this little dream bike in the flesh. There's no way around it. This bike is definitely on the small side. And at 1.85 m and 105 kilos, I make it look even smaller. But I don't see that as a bad thing, quite the opposite. That's what makes the 307 Rally so playful and confidence inspiring. It's lightweight, it's easy to handle, and it responds very intuitively to your input.
I was actually a bit surprised by how much grunt this thing has down low. Half of the time I feel like I'm riding in a lower gear than I really am, which of course has to do with the short gearbox. But when you roll on the throttle at low revs, the engine note thickens, and man, does it pull.
At 33.5 horsepower, this little bike outputs 7 ponies more than the popular CRF 300 Rally. And with a competition kit that will be available soon, you're talking about DRZ4S power territory. Let that sink in for a second. I'm really curious to see what happens past 5,000 RPMs once the braking in period is done. Despite having a shorter suspension travel than the CRF 300 Rally, this might well be the best suspension in class.
Bone stock, haven't touched preload, haven't the gist of the thing, and it's holding up just fine. Well, at least at this pace.
And for the price, that's pretty impressive. I still haven't had a chance of doing some proper hard braking, something that Rieju also recommends you take it easy on the first kilometers. But this thing comes equipped with a 300mm front disc. That's not only class leading, that's 20mm above the DRZ4S, a bike that costs almost double.
And the final blow to the competition comes in the form of a 21-liter fuel tank that will give it an over 400 kilometer autonomy, leaving pretty much every other adventure bike in the dust.
Quite a few of you have asked on social media why didn't I go for the R model. And the thing is, I'm not a big fan of the Michelin tracker, and I prefer an acrylic engine guard for being quieter and lighter. That said, the OEM bash plate does look pretty neat, and if you can't resist those red looks, it's undoubtedly a solid option. I have to confess I'm pretty damn delighted with this little bike. But just like any other motorcycle, it isn't perfect, of course. And the biggest disappointment has to be having a dedicated ABS button that doesn't work like every single one of us wishes it would. So yeah, thanks to EU regulations and despite Rieju's efforts, they were forced to implement a two-step activation process that resets every single time you turn your ignition off. And even though that there are other bikes in the market that deactivate ABS directly, the 307 had to play by the book in order to get homologated. I was also a bit disappointed with the limited functionality of the dashboard. And I know we're seeing this even on bigger bikes, but not being able to fully mirror our phones with the screen lock kind of defeats the purpose of having such a nice TFT in a bike like this. It's sharp, it's bright, it works really well, but I'm seeing myself having to add a dedicated navigation device to this bike pretty soon.
Beyond this point, we're really starting to nitpick here. Like, I find the stock levers a bit on the chunky side, especially the clutch, which also doesn't come with any adjustment, while the brake does. And I don't know about you guys, but I much rather have an adjustable clutch lever than an adjustable brake. The bike is brand new now and seems pretty well built, but I'm curious to see how some of these plastics will age, like the fuel tank that seems prone to getting easily scuffed. But this is an off-road focused machine, so if you're expecting to have it sparkling and shining all the time, you're probably not giving it its intended use.
Bottom line is that at 5,000 euros, depending on where you live, this is a seriously compelling package. You got proper suspension, good brakes, a 21-liter fuel tank, and a large dash TFT. It's just a gorgeous little rally bike all around. But hey, these are just my first riding impressions, and there's a lot more I want to explore with this little bugger. So stay tuned, because we'll be coming back to this bike later on. I hope you have enjoyed our first riding impressions of the Rieju 307 Rally, and if your heart pumps in RPMs like mine does, don't forget to rev that like button, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next ride.